I thought the game was we had a lot of positives on the film. I mean, we had 75 plays on offense, and we had 55 plays in the first three quarters with over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, 1 turnover. And then the takeaway from it was the fourth quarter we had about 17 plays, only like 58 or 60 yards and 2 turnovers, no touchdowns in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter we had 4 drives that I saw. 2 of those ended with punts. We had one sack in the fourth quarter. 2 drives ended with punts, and then 2 drives ended with turnovers. So, I mean, we played good for 3 quarters on offense. In the fourth quarter, we didn't score any points, and that was the only quarter we didn't score any points the whole game. Northwestern scored more points, and, I mean, the team that scores more points wins the game. So,
Casey, on the pick where you're going to Oliver, was there anything you could have done differently on that, or was that just a little timing issue, or what do you see?
No. They went one high man on that play. It was 3rd and 9, I believe. We had just crossed the 50, so we're moving the ball well. And, no, I mean, he ran a good route. Like I said, it was one high man. I threw it right over the Mike linebacker. He tried to jump up and tip it. Ball went right over the linebacker's head. I threw it with timing and anticipation. Oliver was trying to get his head around. He was getting tugged a little bit. The DB made a good play. He did a technique called slingshot. He slingshotted himself into the play. So he kind of ran with Oliver, pulled himself into the play, and then tracked the ball. So the DB did a really good job of just tracking the ball a little bit better on that play. Like I said, Oliver was getting ready to try to hold the defender off on his back. Just didn't get his head around and his hands up quick enough. I think it was a great ball. I threw it with confidence. Like I said, it was 3rd and 9. Trey Palmer we ran switch verticals, and Trey shut it down on the outside. I didn't know for sure if Trey was going to get enough depth to get the first down, so that's why I went with Oliver on the seam. But no, I thought it was a good ball. Like I said, it's just unfortunate play, and the DB made a play on it. It's going to happen sometimes.
Hey, Casey, how important is it this week just to get better balance and rhythm with the run game in the offense?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to run the ball. Anytime you can run the ball and have success on the ground, that sets everything up. You know, you can control the clock, able to get ahead of the chains on 1st and 2nd down and not have to pass it. You know, we had 42 pass attempts. You know, going into the game, I don't know if we would like to have more or less than that, but whatever it takes to win on offense. But if we can establish a good run game, that's obviously going to help, you know, every team that we play.
Casey, those specifics that you mentioned with Oliver on that pick, is that something where you go to him and want to talk, and you generally want to do with the receiver when there's a play where you don't mesh?
I mean, I just asked him after the play, hey, what happened? I saw him the whole way. He was running. Like I said, it was one high man. The safety's in the middle of the field. All I had to do was beat the linebacker with the throw. I threw it over the linebacker's head. There's nobody in the middle of the field. Oliver was one-on-one. He had the DB on his left shoulder, so I put the ball right here. The DB actually just reached around and kind of just grabbed it. I asked Oliver what happened. He said he was getting held a little bit and didn't get enough time to get his head around. I watched it on the replay, watched it on film as well. Right as the ball was in the air, Oliver's head was getting jerked this way. So when the ball was coming, he didn't get to get his head and eyes around.
Is that pretty normal for you to have those conversations?
Yeah, I mean, any incompletion, if it's my fault or the receiver's fault, I mean, I go over to the receiver right away and ask what happened. And then if it's just like a pure drop or say if I make a bad throw, I'll go over and tell him, hey, that's my bad. I got to put it in a better spot. Or if it's like a miscue, I'll go ask him, hey, what happened? What did you see on that? Did you see the coverage? How was he defending you? What kind of leverage did you have? Even whenever I don't throw it to certain receivers, I still go ask them after the play or on the sideline, did you win on this route? You know, let's say we have an 8-play drive. I'll ask all the receivers that were in that drive, hey, when you ran this comeback, how did he defend you on that play? What number was it to the field? You know, was it number 13? Was it number 2? Was it number 11? Different stuff like that. So I do that at practice every day. I also do it in the game.
And when tempo's working, and that first drive, you guys pretty clearly overwhelmed them. What's the line between making sure that you're using tempo the right way, and then those times when maybe you get off the field too quickly and it burns your defense?
I mean, I think we did a good job of using the tempo to our advantage on Saturday. Obviously, you guys know we were moving the ball down the field. And up through like 2 or 3 quarters, we had 1 punt. So, I mean, we were moving the ball down the field. And like I said, we turned the ball over, stopping ourselves. We went 75 plays, no penalties. That was the first time that we had a scrimmage or a game in a long time here at Nebraska with 0 penalties. I think we had like one sack, well, two technically because I tripped. But we had one sack the whole game. So, like I said, there's really a lot of positives and takeaways. But the tempo is something that we like to use to our advantage. We know how to slow down too, and control the clock when we need to. But like I said, we just have to establish a little bit better run game to be able to control the clock.
Are there moments where you want to tell Whipple or Frost, hey, I can run the ball. If you need me to run the zone read,
No,
I can
I
do
mean, honestly, we practice run and pass plays during the week. Quarterback run, running back run plays. We practice inside zone, outside zone, scramble drill, drop back pass, play action, boot, sprint outs. I just tell them the night before the game we go over all the plays, and during the week, and they say, hey, are you good with this play or you're not? They ask me, is there anything you don't like? What are your favorite plays? I go into the game and say, I'll like everything. Whatever you call, I'll run it. So if they call a run play, I'll run the ball. If they call a pass play, I'm gonna throw it. So, but no, I usually don't. Unless I know for sure I'm out on the field, because the coaches, if they're in the press box on the sideline, they don't see what the quarterback can see in the offensive line. We're actually out there, so if there's something that I know will work, I'll go tell them, like, hey, we should run this play. But no, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good game, good play calls. Like I said, it was 75 plays on offense, and not a lot of complaints about the play calls from my end. I think that every run and pass play that we had, we could have executed. We just have to make a few changes and adjustments.
Casey, is it better to have a game right away to kind of flush what happened last week as opposed to having to buy and sitting out a little longer?
Yeah, I mean, right after the game, you feel defeated. But, I mean, as soon as you wake up on Sunday, at least for me and this team, I think it's important to try to move on. On Sunday, the main takeaway was to correct the issues, acknowledge the mistakes, but also, see what we did well and then improve on the positives. Yesterday's practice was very important for us as we went out on Monday's practice, just to try to stay positive, stay energetic, stay encouraged, and push one another to have a great practice. And we did a good job of that yesterday. We have good leadership on this team. We had a really good practice yesterday, had a great practice today as well. So, like I said, we're going to be fine. We just have to move forward. We can't let one game beat us twice. Like I said, today's Tuesday, and the game was, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, so we have to move on from it.
What does North Dakota kind of look like on defense? Have you kind of gotten to figure them out yet?
Yeah, I've watched them. I started watching them on Sunday evening, and they play really hard. They've had their defensive staff together for at least 3 years now. Number 3, their cornerback stands out on film. He's a very good athlete. They have 4 players from Nebraska, 3 players from Oklahoma. One of them came from NEO, junior college in Oklahoma. I'm very familiar with. And like I said, this is their first game. They're usually undefeated on their first game season openers. And I mean, they're a good football team. Watching the film, they had 11 games last year with they had either the lead or had a chance to take a lead in the fourth quarter. So can't take them lightly, but they run a lot of different coverages. They run a lot of different pressures and blitzes. They run 3-4 front. They run 4-3. So they've shown a lot of variety on film, and but we'll be okay. I mean, we have to trust our training and just be able to know that we know football and we've practiced enough against all the different looks, so we'll be ready.
What would it mean to get Omar Manning back to this offense?
Omar, I mean, I'm always trying to encourage and push our guys, but Omar is a very big receiver. He's talented, very fast, has good hands, good route running, and he brings a lot of physical presence to the receiver room, and it'll be great to have him back. Like I said, he's a good receiver and he's a good player. So just building on his athleticism and his physical tools, and just getting him more confidence and more reps. I mean, it's week 1 for us technically. Omar hasn't played in a game since last year, so last week was really good for all the guys that got to play, to get that game speed back and to get those live game reps. Even for me, that was the first time that I got hit since Thanksgiving last year. So it was good to get in that game, but it'll be good to have Omar back for the rest of the season.
Casey, what are you expecting playing a game at Memorial Stadium on Saturday?
Yeah, this will be my first live game. I mean, I got to play in the spring game here for, I think, like 9 plays. Threw like 4 passes or whatever it was, 5 passes. Yeah, but it's different when it's the game. So I'm excited to get in front of the fans. Husker Nation here at Memorial Stadium. It'll be fun. And but on game day when I go out there, like I said, we're going to war with the same guys that we practice with every day. So I try to really tune out a lot of the noise and the crowd noise and stuff like that. But it'll be fun on Saturday to get out there for the first time and see everyone. I'm personally excited to have my family come. They didn't get to travel to Ireland. So it'll be good to have 10 to 15 or however many people are coming to the game this week. My family, so that'll be good.
Your impression of the fans just being out and about and seeing them around town?
I think the fans are really passionate. And like I said, I mean, I come from a football family. I'm from Oklahoma. I played at Texas, so kind of used to diehard fans. But I definitely think that, like I said before, it's a close community here, the Nebraska fan base. And I just think there's a lot of Husker fans around the town, in the airport. I'll never forget when I came. When I first came here in January, I was flying in from LaGuardia Airport, and there were Nebraska fans on the flight. And then at the Omaha airport that recognized me. And that was before I had even announced it. I was trying to stay low-key, you know, but there's Nebraska fans everywhere. So I really enjoy it, and I'm very thankful and appreciative for the diehard fans. And I just ask everyone to, like I said, to stick with us. And inside the building, we're trying to stay positive. So that's the main thing.
How's your body reacclimated back to Central Time, and how big a deal is that to be totally back on track for Saturday?
Yeah, honestly, I slept great on both flights. I took some sleep medicine, allergy pills, and I slept over 7 hours on the flight there. I only woke up because the flight attendant said we're landing, and then on the way back, I didn't have to take anything, but I slept again for at least 7.5 hours. So both flights, by the time we got there, I just stayed awake for the rest of the day and kind of got acclimated that way. But by Sunday night and Monday, I felt pretty normal. And I think that most of us should be over the jet lag. Not everybody got to sleep. I know it's not easy for everyone to sleep on the plane, but when you play a full quarter game like that, I think it's easy to fall asleep. So my body feels fine. And like I said, a little bit sore from the game. My first time getting hit since week 12 last year. So my shoulders, my ribs, my torso, took a few hits to the shin, stuff like that. But, I mean, I feel fine. And like I said, practice has been great, so I'm back to normal and ready to go.
Casey, you've been around a lot of football. I mean, what have you seen that makes you think this team is reacting well, to this loss?
Like I've been playing football since I was 4 years old, so a long time. But this is my first time on this team. Like I said, it's a new team. There's a lot of new faces, new coaches. But I think that we're reacting well by our body language, the energy at practice, just kind of the overall demeanor around the building. Like I said, we've had great practices. We're still having good meetings and stuff like that. The coaches aren't freaking out and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think pressure is more of an outside noise thing. And I think internally in the building, I think that we're fine. And we just have to focus on doing our job and continue to play football and execute how we know how to execute for 4 quarters. But we have to be prepared to play 4 quarters every week. So that's the main thing. And then one thing that I wanted to say, just to inform you guys, I was asked a question last week by one of you about how does the skill depth here compare to at Texas. But I just thought I'm very close with those guys over at Texas, and I just want to say I wish them best of luck this season. And I'm still close to a lot of the players, and actually I got a lot of texts and calls from the players after the game last week. They were watching DeMarvion Overshawn, their starting Mike linebacker over there. I still keep in touch with Bijan Robinson. Roshan Johnson's their running back over there, team captain, a really good player. And but I just want to say I respect them. But moving forward from here on out, I don't want to really be asked questions about Texas, because I'm trying to focus on Nebraska and moving forward with this team. And I'm always trying to encourage the players and stuff that we have here. But I was asked a question last week about how does the skill set depth compare here at Texas, and I said we have more depth, and a lot of the Texas fans and media, of course, took it to say Casey Thompson said that the skill set depth at Texas wasn't very good, and I never said anything like that. So I don't want to stir the pot about anything, and I'm not trying to go down that path. But like I said, I wish them the best of luck. I have a lot of respect for Coach Sark and that team. They've always had talent. Talent's never been an issue. They have a really good team, really good coach. Bijan Robinson is one of the best athletes and running backs I've ever been around. Xavier Worthy is one of the best route runners. Like those guys deserve everything that's going their way. But moving forward, I just want to talk about Nebraska football, the games that we have at hand and the issues that we have here. So nothing but respect for those guys. So I appreciate you guys, and thank you.